Hello and welcome to Impossible Mission. It's formerly known as Press X. This is the Geek Show's video game discussion video series stroke podcast. And the podcast will be out 2 weeks in two episode blocks. So if you listen to that, thank you. Subscribe, share us with your friends, or give us a rating, whatever. If you're watching on YouTube, just click like and subscribe, and then call us idiots in the comments, because that's what YouTube's for.
That's also the purpose of the Impossible Mission. Talk about video games without pissing someone off.
Yes, it is. Because every game is somebody's favourite game. There you go, got it out there.
Everybody's got opinions as well.
Yeah. Okay, so this week, on this episode, what we're talking about?
We're talking about, Yakuza 7 is in localization. It's coming out soon.
Well, it's not called Yakuza 7, though,
It's called Like a Dragon.
Yeah, because apparently a part of this one, when it was Kazuya Kiriyama, I probably got that name wrong, but let's just run with it. It was a brawler.
Kiryu Kazuma.
Yeah, he picked up bikes, giant safety traffic cones, and just whapped people with them until they should literally be dead on the floor, but no, they're just knocked out.
Yeah, but the great thing about the Yakuza games was...
but this one, though, before you get into that, this one's reinvented it, so it's a turn-based system.
Yeah.
Apparently, from Advanced Word, it's very good.
Well, I think...
we'll see.
I think one of the things that I love about the Yakuza games, because... for those of you who haven't played a Yakuza game, they're basically the spiritual successors to Shenmue.
Yeah, but what if you've not played a Shenmue? Because Shenmue's not exactly...
Well, yeah, but Shenmue...
contemporary, is it?
It's not exactly contemporary, but it did come out recently, and it did attract a lot of attention with that E3 announcement that PlayStation did, or that Sony did, at their conference. And so I think awareness of Shenmue is probably was probably at its height for a while.
But essentially, you play... it's so complicated. It is basically a Japanese soap opera.
It is.
In all the players, there's like consistent players. Like there's Haruka, who is a young girl,
orphan girl,
who's basically like a daughter to Kazuya.
Yeah.
There's Majima, who is Goro Majima, who is an eye patch wearing psychopath. Who I guess is
you kind of gotta love him.
Yeah, you do. But I think he's kind of Kazuma's best friend in a weird way. But Majima always wants to fight him.
It's because, it's that weird thing. Majima wants to fight Kazuma just because Kazuma is basically the dragon. When we say dragon, we don't mean he physically turns into a dragon. It's basically he's like the best.
No, it's like they have nicknames. He's the Dragon of Dojima.
Yeah,
it's like through nicknames given through the escapades that they were part of.
All their deeds, all their events. It's one of those. It's one of these bizarre things. The actual Yakuza world is. It's one of those fascinating worlds because it has a lot of parallels with those old school sword and sorcery fantasy stories where everyone had a title and everyone was very formal. Yeah. There's a lot of parallels between the two. It's just one is set in the real world with, but they all have titles that. Hark to mythical things or legendary things, whereas in fantasy stories they'd be called the sword of destruction and stuff like that.
No, they would not.
Yes, they would.
Not that dumb and on the nose. The sword of destruction. You
really need to read some old school fantasy stuff.
The sword of destruction.
Yeah,
that's what swords are supposed to do.
No, actually referring to a person as the sword of destruction.
Oh.
That's. Seriously, some of the old school fantasy stuff I'm talking about, like 1940s and 50s, I
expect this from self-publishing on Amazon, not like normal, literally published, edited books.
1940s and 50s.
All right.
Well, or possibly even older. That was one of the styles of titling they used.
But it's a saga. It's not really like a running storyline through it. It's just the escapades of Kazuma and the people that he happens upon and the connections that he makes.
Well,
there's like recurring characters. There's like the underground society in the park in Kamurocho.
Yeah.
There's the police officer who you pally with. I can't remember the name of the host bar, but you're friends with them.
Yeah.
The Koreans don't like you.
No,
the Chinese don't like you. other gangsters don't like you. Because at the beginning of the first story, spoiler for Yakuza 1,
Yeah.
he basically takes the responsibility for a murder, goes to jail, and that's him out of the Yakuza then.
Yeah.
But out of some convoluted happenstance, he becomes a gang leader at the end of the first game, and then he steps down. And then I think he's always referred to as John Daime, so the third or fourth, I can't remember the title.
Basically, the group that... See, if I remember the story correctly, Kazuma was adopted by the guy who... The Yakuza boss who killed his parents.
Yeah, it's like it gets very, very hard and heavy soap opera.
Yeah, I mean... and there is kind of an ongoing thread of plot somewhere in the background. Somewhere, if you look hard enough, you'll probably find it.
I think it's just referring to it as a soap opera is the easiest way.
Yeah, it's the easiest way.
It's just characters come and characters go.
Yeah, but the thing is, there's something to love about that. It's for all those people who watch soap operas like Coronation Street and EastEnders and stuff like that, right? If you are after the same sort of thing in video games, then Yakuza is basically what you're looking for.
It'd be like if in an episode of EastEnders, Phil Mitchell picked up a bike and then beat the living hell out of Ian Beale.
I'm sorry, but I would watch that. I would watch EastEnders if it was like that.
And he rolled his R's a lot. Then he ripped his shirt off and they both had a shirtless fight on top of the Queen Vic.
Oh my God. That version of EastEnders would be amazing.
Yeah, I mean, I've improved EastEnders, but, you know, it's what some people are put on this earth to do.
Yes. I see nothing wrong with your idea for EastEnders. BBC, hire this man immediately.
But story is only part of it, isn't it? It all takes place in Kamurocho, which is this...
Well, not all.
It's heavily... I mean, I think number 6 was in Yokohama. He's got some bits that take place in Okinawa. So it gets about, but end of the day, it all comes back to Kamurocho.
Yeah, but I mean, the areas that you can explore... right, here's the thing about Yakuza. Right back when it started on the PlayStation 2. And the PlayStation 2 games, Yakuza 1 and 2, because I think Yakuza 3 was on the PS3, wasn't it?
A lot of them are on the PlayStation 3, yeah.
Yeah. Yakuza 1 and 2, when you go back and play them, they have dated, but this is where you're in luck, because they did do Yakuza Kiwami.
Everybody knows about this, Rob. We're not breaking
No.
yet.
I'm just saying, because when you look at the difference between Yakuza 1 and 2 and Yakuza Kiwami 1 and 2, right? Even though they kept the same plot threads, the same plot beats, the same characters, they just added so much more. It's basically rebuilding the entire game from the ground up.
I don't know what they've done with this new set that released 3, 4, and 5. As a trilogy.
Yeah. No, it's reputed to be... extremely good.
I don't care. I'll be getting it anyway. I love Yakuza. But we're kind of burying the lead here. I don't think if it was just like an action adventure, third-person action adventure, which would go around a part of Japan as Yakuza, beating people up with bikes and things,
it would be boring.
I don't think it would have got the legacy it has.
Yeah.
The legacy it has is, well, one, it's got the Sega arcade in there.
Yeah.
It's got things like miniature car riding and all these weird little mini games.
The karaoke about
karaoke
the dog.
is...
Who can forget the karaoke about the dog?
And in number 6, you actually talk to a webcam girl over the internet and they fall in love with.
It gets very, very... the thing is, it's one of those games that is so Japanese, it hurts.
And in number 5, I think it was number 5, he quit and become a taxi driver. So there's bits of the game where you got to go around and do taxi missions.
Yeah.
In number 6, he's got to look after a baby. So there's like a bit where you got to transport the baby from place A to place B, where you got to keep the baby quiet by doing various gestures on the controller.
Exactly.
It's weird.
Yeah, but do you know what I love about that?
On some of the story-based ones, where a busty hostess, tries to con you at a bar and fleece you for money, so you end up beating up the whole gang.
Do you know what I love about Yakuza, though, is the amount of imagination that they have. I mean, I can just imagine the developers meeting where they're saying, all right, so what can we do in this game? And someone says, well, he's carrying a baby. Why not have a mission where he has to keep the baby quiet? And you can basically do it like this. And someone goes, I like that. That's going in. And you just think...
Oh, so it's the Gremlins guy, the Jordan Peele Gremlins 2 gag.
Yeah, basically.
Says, what, electricity? Oh, you're just throwing words out now, aren't you?
Exactly.
But I like it. You're thinking. Electricity Gremlin, he's in the movie.
Exactly. And I think that's basically what happens with Yakuza. They come up with a bunch of weird and wacky ideas about how to make the game interesting and fun and enjoyable that you just don't see in other games. I mean, what other game has a mission where you have to keep a baby quiet?
I can't think of any at all.
It wasn't in Uncharted, it's not been in Tomb Raider, it's not been in Horizon or Metal Gear or any other game. And a game where you're driving a taxi and you have to go drag racing against these street racers.
I forgot about the drag racing as well, yeah. There's all sorts of mini games. There's way too many.
Oh, where you can play classic arcade games inside your game.
Yeah, there's like Virtua Fighter in its entirety on one of them.
Super Hang-On, Outrun, there's darts, there's all sorts of other games. I mean, it's basically, you know when The Simpsons started doing a cartoon within a cartoon, like the Itchy and Scratchy cartoon? It's that level of metaphysical, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, there's darts, there's snooker, there's... I can't even begin to...
And just...
You got to do... There's Underground Fight Club.
Yeah.
Where you have to get certain things to allow a drunk old guy in the park to teach you drunken boxing.
Do you know one of the other...
That actually happens.
Yeah. One of the other things that I love, and I tested this as well with a couple of the games. When you were wandering around exploring, you have the ability to take photos, right? But when you go into photo mode and you wander around with that first-person perspective, what happens is the actual characters that are just wandering around the street, they will either pose for photos or they'll hide their faces so you don't take a photo of them.
I never knew that.
And it's that little attention to detail, because normally with NPC characters that you don't even interact with, they just mill about and do nothing.
But my issue with Yakuza is I don't know whether it's popular because it's genuinely a work of mad genius, or whether it's popular in an ironic way.
I think it's popular because it is a work of mad genius that's built up over time. I think that it's not like Nier Automata.
No, I think there's an element of that where it's like, you got to play this game. It's so funny. You got to look after this baby, and you do this all mad crap. It's like,
yeah. But I think what happens is people play Yakuza and then kind of become absorbed by the story.
It's very dense.
Yeah, it is very dense.
Incredibly dense.
There are a lot of cutscenes in Yakuza games.
Very political. So not political in the sort of question time, is this woman a plant or isn't this woman a plant? More in the sense of...
Count the branches, then you'll know.
It's branches of political families and takeover. People trying to take over gangs and aligning with other gangs and...
Let me put it this way. I could happily play Yakuza games from the beginning, from Yakuza 0 all the way through to the new Yakuza 7. I could happily play them for months on end and not play any other game, just the Yakuza games, and I would have considered that having a good time playing games.
Yeah, because it is. It's a fun time playing games.
Yeah.
It's flawed. It's flawed. It's very PlayStation 2 in the way it controls.
Yeah.
Very tank-like. But at the same time, you are playing a tank.
I don't know. The Kiwami games weren't too bad.
Not as bad as they were, but they still weren't as fluid as the contemporary made games now. But yeah, you are playing a tank. The man is literally a tank.
Yep. He's built like a tank. He throws signs like a tank.
Because you got like the fire... I don't know what to call it. It's been a while since I played one. But you got like the heat mode, I think it's called.
Yeah, I think it is called heat mode.
He does bad things to people. he does very, very... I mean, surely the person shouldn't get up by being knocked out. Surely there should be an ambulance taking him to an A&E department.
I think one of the heat mode moves was... it was basically curb stomping.
Yeah.
And you're just like, oh no.
Lots of power bombs into things as well.
Yeah, I mean, if you do a heat mode special attack using a sword, he basically skewers them.
Yeah. Doesn't bother him though, they seem fine.
No, they're fine afterwards because, you'll turn a corner and there they are again.
It's also fun that it's one of these franchises where if it was in any other generation, I mean, I think they did in the first two, they actually dubbed it into English.
Yeah, which
but
didn't quite work. I think I prefer the Japanese.
Keeps it authentic to the world it's in.
Yeah.
It's like you're in a part of Tokyo. Why has this guy got a Midwestern American accent? This is weird.
Yeah. It just didn't work.
There's American characters who popped up in it, but I think one of them, there was like a black boxer in one of them.
Yeah.
But I'm mashing together a lot of the series here.
We've basically got 7 games already, and Yakuza 7 is actually the 8th game.
Because there's a Saudi one in the feudal era in Japan, and there's a Dead Souls, which had zombies.
Oh no, the Yakuza 7 is actually the 10th game?
Which one am I missing then?
Because there's Yakuza 0, and then there's Yakuza 1 to 6.
Yeah, so 7.
Okay, then there's a feudal era Japan one.
8.
Then there's Dead Souls.
9.
So Yakuza 7 is the 10th game.
Well, it's still easier to follow than Final Fantasy is. Exactly. I wouldn't like to say what number Final Fantasy we're on here. But yeah, I mean, Yakuza is very much... It's one of the... I mean, people won't think of it this way, but it is one of the sort of the centerpieces of PlayStation's exclusive catalogue.
Yeah, I mean, I know that a lot of people will talk about games like God of War and stuff like that, but I will throw this out there. I actually think that Yakuza as a whole, right? Because I know everyone talks about the story in The Witcher and the story in God of War and stuff like that, but I'll be honest, Yakuza as a whole, I think, has a much more intriguing storyline than any other franchise.
Yeah, it's one of my favourite franchises.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you've got anything to add to that, please do comment below, or if you're listening on the podcast, tweet us at TJS_the Geek Show.
I just want to add one last thing, right? If you're going to play the Yakuza games, play the Kiwami and the remastered games, because they are a sight to behold. The amount of detail just walking around is ridiculous.
Okay, so to finish this show, we have to do this little bit. It's new.
Yep.
So what have you been playing? Have you been playing anything?
I have been playing... I found this weird little mobile game that I've been playing called Dungeon Survivor 2. And...
Nice title.
Yeah, I know. It's very, very basic. I can't even remember who makes it. And it's a very basic dungeon crawler type game. I mean, it's all top down, anything like that. But you know what? I kind of like it because I can basically while away the hours while I'm waiting for stuff. And I know mobile games don't really get a lot of attention.
No, they don't.
Even though mobile gaming is literally the biggest platform for games in the world.
Well, the biggest platform, but not the most profitable one. But...
Maybe not the most profitable one. I mean, Dungeon Survivor 2 is a free game, you know. But that's the main one I've been playing recently. Just because I've been out and about, there's a lot of building work going on at home. I'm basically going from A to B all the time. So it's something for me to do. Yeah. And that's the one that's got my attention right now.
Well, I've been playing a mobile game, Crashy Cats. Which you play a cat which crashes through stuff. It's an infinite runner. It's a great on the toilet game. But also I've started The Witcher 3 again. Not because I'm not one of these people. I mean, apparently it's made $50 million post the series of people picking it up.
Yeah.
I had it pre-existing. I just thought, you know what?
Are you a Witcher hipster? That sounds really weird.
No, because if I was a Witcher hipster, I'd have played 1 and 2. Which I haven't.
I did.
I'm playing Witcher again just because I don't know. It's just a game that you can sort of sink your teeth into, that you really get involved in the world.
Yeah, and
there's a comfort to that, I think. I mean, short games have their place and all that. Indie games have their place, but when you really get lost in a world, which is kind of what we were talking about with The Witcher, you get lost in Kamurocho. When you feel part of that world and you feel like you have some sort of impact on that world, there's no other experience in it. Out there really in games like that. It keeps you going. It's not like a world-ending story. You're just trying to find someone.
Yeah.
But it touches on so many things and you go to so many places and you meet so many characters. It's just games need more of that, and I'm really digging going back into it because you can play it 2 different ways. Missions can go very, very badly. There's a mission where you have to go into this tower with a witch that you know. Get some manuscripts, I think it was. It's been a while since I played that mission. The first time I did that mission, it all went well. The second time I did that mission, it went balls up and he ended up having to kill the witch. So it changed the complexion of the game because that character helps you later on in a mission. So if you end up killing her with it going wrong, it changes all sorts of implications of the game.
Wow.
And there's many instances like that.
So The Witcher 3, The Witcher franchise as a whole makes me really excited for what CD Projekt Red are doing with Cyberpunk.
I'm keeping my feet on the ground because that's basically been hyped like it's going to be the greatest game ever made, and I don't think that's healthy.
Yeah, I don't think it's healthy either, but I can't help but wonder and be slightly excited by the prospect of what that game will offer. But there is a question, is it coming out on the PlayStation 4, or is it going to be a launch title for the PS5?
Well, that's another discussion. I mean, is there such a thing as generations going forward? Which, again, I think we'll talk about soon. Not next week, but soon.
Yes.
Okay, so thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.